Alex had always known that his next mission would be unlike anything he had faced before. Earth had sent him to a distant planet, one shrouded in mystery and ruled by a species humans barely understood. The planet, called Scifi, was famous for its advanced technology and the intelligence of its inhabitants. Alex's orders were simple: establish diplomatic relations, observe their culture, and report back. But as his shuttle descended through the violet atmosphere, he felt a thrill of unease. He knew he was about to meet beings whose minds were sharp, whose customs were intricate, and whose pride could be dangerous. The shuttle landed gently on a smooth landing platform that gleamed under the planet's 3 suns. The city before him stretched wide, with towers that twisted elegantly toward the sky. The architecture was unlike anything Alex had ever seen. Transparent bridges connected floating structures, and the air shimmered with the hum of energy that powered everything. Strange vehicles zipped past, moving without wheels, guided by some invisible force. The scene was beautiful, almost overwhelming, but Alex had no time to lose himself in wonder. He stepped off the shuttle, his boots clinking against the polished metal platform. Immediately, 2 figures appeared from the crowd, tall, elegant, and unmistakably commanding. They moved together as if perfectly synchronized, their hair shimmering in the sunlight, their eyes sharp and calculating. Alex quickly realized that these were the infamous twin sisters, Lyra and Leora, known across Scifi for their intelligence, their influence in the council, and their pride in their heritage. From the first moment, they looked at him with amusement. Lyra's lips curled into a small, mocking smile, while Leora's eyes sparkled with curiosity, though there was an edge of derision there. They spoke to each other in rapid, melodic words that Alex did not understand. Their gestures and laughter were unmistakable. They were mocking him. Alex could feel their words cutting even though he did not yet comprehend them. He kept his expression calm, not wanting to reveal the slightest hint that he might feel insulted. Humans had survived centuries by reading situations carefully, by observing and by acting with patience. He reminded himself of that now. He nodded respectfully as the sisters approached, acknowledging them without fear or hesitation. "Welcome, human," Lyra said finally in a voice that was smooth and musical, though Alex did not yet know the meaning. Her tone, however, carried that same sharp edge he had sensed from their gestures. Leora added, "We hope you are prepared to understand our ways." Her words were light, almost playful, but Alex sensed the subtle mockery behind them. The twins were testing him, seeing if a human could stand in their world without faltering. Alex followed them into the city. Every step revealed more of Scifi's wonders. Vehicles floated past without drivers, their forms sleek and elegant. Holographic signs projected intricate symbols in the air, shifting and shimmering in patterns that seemed like art to human eyes. Citizens walked confidently, their posture perfect, their movements precise, as if every action had a purpose. The twins moved with them naturally, clearly part of this elite world. As they walked, Lyra and Leora whispered to each other, their heads close, their voices low. Alex could not understand the words, but the expression on their faces told him everything he needed to know. They were laughing at him. Humans, they assumed, could not comprehend their language, their culture, or the subtle social cues that governed every interaction on Scifi. Alex listened carefully. He noticed the rhythm of their speech, the way certain syllables rose and fell, the gestures that accompanied specific phrases. Even if he could not translate the words immediately, he could understand patterns, tone, and intent. Every mocking glance, every sarcastic laugh told him more than words ever could. They arrived at a large building at the heart of the city. The entrance was wide and adorned with intricate carvings that depicted scenes of the planet's history, battles, and achievements. Guards at the door stepped aside as the twins entered, signaling Alex to follow. The interior was grand beyond imagination. Walls of polished crystal reflected the soft light that filled the hall, and floating platforms carried visitors across the room. Holograms displayed messages and images of past leaders, projecting a sense of pride and achievement. The twins led Alex to a smaller chamber, more private, where they sat across from him at a sleek table made of a translucent material that seemed to pulse with energy. They leaned forward slightly, their expressions still amused, as if expecting him to fail or stumble in this alien environment. Alex took a deep breath. He knew he had to understand them, not just for his mission, but to survive and gain respect. For now, he maintained his composure, nodding politely at their remarks, responding in the limited phrases he had learned from preliminary data. His accent was imperfect, but he hoped it showed effort. Lyra's smile widened, sensing that her mockery might be affecting him, or perhaps she believed it did. "You understand so little," she said, her tone light, teasing. Leora's laughter was soft, almost musical, echoing in the chamber. Alex studied them quietly. He could see their habits, the subtle expressions that accompanied their words. Humans had a skill for observation and deduction, something he had relied on countless times in his training. He noted their gestures, the way they leaned slightly when emphasizing a point, the way their eyes flicked to each other when sharing a joke. Slowly, a plan formed in his mind. If they believed he did not understand, he could use it to his advantage. The council soon joined them. Leaders of Scythera arrived, their faces serious, their eyes curious. The twins introduced Alex with a playful exaggeration, emphasizing human shortcomings. The council members listened, some amused, some skeptical, all curious about the human who had come to their planet. Alex observed silently, noting every reaction, every glance. He did not respond immediately, letting them underestimate him further. Hours passed as the council discussed diplomatic matters, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges. Alex asked careful questions, showing curiosity and respect, but he avoided revealing the depth of his understanding. The twins noticed this, frowning slightly. Humans were unpredictable, but this one remained calm, polite, and observant. As the meeting ended, Lyra and Leora walked Alex back toward his shuttle. Their conversation, as before, was rapid and mocking, meant to confuse him or provoke a reaction. Alex listened closely, deciphering patterns, storing knowledge in his mind. He smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly, knowing that when the moment came, he would reveal the truth. The shuttle's engines hummed softly as Alex prepared to leave the city for the night. He had explored much, learned more, and observed the twins carefully. He had seen their arrogance, their intelligence, and their pride. But he had also learned their weakness. They assumed humans were inferior, that a single human could not match their minds or understand their language. That assumption, he knew, would be the key to gaining their respect. As he floated above the city, looking down at the towers and lights, Alex felt a mixture of excitement and determination. Scythera was a world of challenges, of clever minds and sharp tongues. But humans had survived against odds far greater than this. He had patience, observation, and intelligence on his side. And soon, very soon, the twins would see that they had underestimated him completely. That night, as Alex reviewed his notes, he listened to recordings of the twins' language. Slowly, carefully, he practiced the phrases, mimicking tones, inflections, and rhythm. He repeated their words again and again until they felt natural. He did not do it for mockery nor for revenge. He did it to understand, to communicate, and to show that humans too had their strengths. By dawn, Alex was ready. He had learned not just the words, but the patterns of thought behind them. He understood the twins' arrogance, their pride, and their playful cruelty. And he knew that soon, he would have his chance to speak, and the twins' laughter would freeze in surprise. For now, however, he waited. Patience, observation, and timing were weapons as strong as any technology or strength, and Alex, a human among aliens, was prepared to wield them with precision. Alex woke early, his mind already running through the events of the previous day. The twin sisters, Lyra and Leora, had mocked him at every turn, speaking quickly in their melodic language, their words sharp and filled with amusement. Most humans would have reacted with anger, embarrassment, or frustration, but Alex had learned long ago that patience and careful observation were stronger tools than rash reactions. He had seen the patterns in their gestures, the timing of their laughter, and the rhythm of their speech. Today he intended to use that knowledge. He left his quarters and stepped onto the balcony of the guest chambers assigned to him. The city of Scythera glimmered under the soft light of the three suns. Towers of polished crystal reflected the colors of the sky, while vehicles glided silently along invisible paths between buildings. The air was filled with a quiet hum, the sound of energy moving through the city. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, and alien. But Alex was focused on a single thought. The twins would not continue mocking him forever. When he returned to the council chambers, Lyra and Leora were already there. They moved together as always, synchronized like dancers, their eyes sparkling with curiosity and amusement. As soon as they noticed him, their smiles widened. Lyra leaned slightly toward Leora and whispered something that made her twin laugh softly. Alex did not understand the words yet, but he understood the intent. They were mocking him again. He smiled faintly and nodded, pretending not to notice. Every human instinct told him to remain calm. Reacting too quickly would reveal that he understood more than they thought. Instead, he greeted them politely, keeping his tone neutral. The twins looked at him with surprise. Most humans would have flushed, stammered, or reacted defensively, but Alex's calm demeanor only made them more intrigued and more eager to test him. The council meeting began. Discussions of trade, technology exchange, and cultural matters filled the room. Lyra and Leora whispered occasionally, clearly commenting on Alex's questions and behavior. Their tone was playful but sharp, meant to unsettle him. Others in the council glanced at him curiously, some noticing his silence, some noting his attentive gaze. Alex remained focused. He asked questions when appropriate, but only after careful observation, making sure every inquiry was precise and respectful. At one point, Lyra spoke rapidly to her twin, laughing softly. Alex's curiosity was piqued, and he subtly mimicked their gestures, noting how their hands moved and how their tones changed. He began to see patterns in their communication, patterns that would soon give him an advantage. Leora noticed him paying attention and frowned slightly. She had assumed no human could follow their language or understand their subtle cues. That assumption, Alex knew, was the key. After the meeting, the twins escorted him through the city once more. This time, their mockery was more open. Lyra would lean toward Alex and speak in rapid phrases, expecting confusion or hesitation. Leora would glance at him, her eyes twinkling, waiting for the human to fail. But Alex simply listened. He focused on the patterns of syllables, the rhythm, the rising and falling of tones. He repeated the phrases silently in his mind, testing pronunciation and understanding. The twins were growing bolder. They whispered about him to other citizens, laughed at what they assumed were human limitations, and openly commented on his gestures. Alex noticed, however, that some council members were beginning to watch him with curiosity rather than amusement. The twins' mockery had drawn attention to him, and the council was observing how a human might respond under pressure. In the afternoon, the council held a series of exercises meant to test intelligence and cultural understanding. Alex was included, although he was aware the twins had likely pushed for his participation, expecting to embarrass him. The exercises involved logic puzzles, social interpretation tasks, and decoding messages written in alien script. Alex approached each task carefully. He used human intuition, observation skills, and deduction. Slowly, he began to solve problems that some of the alien participants struggled with. Lyra and Leora watched closely, their expressions changing from amusement to cautious interest. They whispered again, their voices faster than Alex could yet fully understand. He noted the slight tension in their gestures and the tightening of their smiles. The twins were realizing that this human might be more capable than they had assumed. During a break, Alex observed the twins at close range. He noticed small habits, the way Lyra tapped her fingers when amused, the subtle tilt of Leora's head when she spoke sarcastically, and the patterns in their laughter. Every detail he gathered was another piece of the puzzle. He knew that humans had a reputation for adaptability, and now he was proving it quietly, step by step. By evening, the twins had taken him to a ceremonial garden, a space filled with glowing plants, water channels that flowed in intricate patterns, and bridges that seemed to float in midair. The twins spoke rapidly again, clearly expecting Alex to react in confusion. He did not. Instead, he studied the environment, noting the gestures, symbols, and phrases used in their language. He repeated them silently, testing pronunciation, learning the subtle changes in tone that could alter meaning. The twins' amusement began to waver. They leaned toward each other, whispering, their laughter less confident. For the first time, they faced the possibility that their human visitor might be understanding more than they expected. Alex noticed the hesitation, the brief flickers of doubt in their expressions. It was subtle, but it was there. As the suns began to set, casting a warm, multicolored glow over the garden, Alex sat quietly, thinking about the coming days. He had learned a great deal, The twins were intelligent, arrogant, and deeply confident in their superiority. They underestimated humans completely, but he had learned more than their habits and speech patterns. He had also learned their weaknesses. Their confidence could be turned against them. Their arrogance could be challenged with patience and precision, and their assumptions could become the key to gaining respect. The night was quiet, but Alex's mind was active. He practiced the language he had been listening to all day, mimicking the sounds, testing inflection, and imagining the moment when he would finally reveal that he could understand and speak their words. The twins' mockery had given him an unexpected advantage. They had revealed themselves, their habits, and their confidence in full. Now Alex had all the information he needed. As he prepared for sleep, he reviewed his observations: the sisters' laughter, their gestures, the rhythm of their speech, and their subtle ways of testing others. He also reviewed his own strengths: patience, observation, adaptability, and intelligence. Humans had survived against impossible odds for centuries, and Alex reminded himself that this challenge was no different. He had the skills, the mind, and the timing to succeed. Before closing his eyes, Alex smiled faintly. The twins believed they had power, that their mockery would unsettle him, that their language was beyond his comprehension. Soon, he thought, that belief would shatter. The moment would come when their laughter would freeze and the council would see the human in a completely new light. For now, patience was his weapon, observation was his shield, and the human spirit, adaptable and unyielding, would be the force that changed the game. The next morning promised another day of challenges, testing, and subtle confrontation. Alex was ready. He had learned from the twins' mockery, absorbed the culture around him, and prepared his mind for the moment of revelation. Scifi was a world of intelligence, pride, and complexity, but humans had survived far stranger and deadlier challenges. And this human was about to show that even in an alien world, wit, patience, and understanding could turn the tables completely. The next day, the city of Scifi was alive with activity. Towering structures glistened in the bright sunlight, and citizens moved confidently along the floating paths and shimmering bridges. Alex felt a sense of calm focus as he walked beside Lyra and Leora. The twins, as usual, moved in perfect synchronization, their expressions carrying the faint amusement of yesterday's encounters. They had assumed the human would falter, stumble, or reveal ignorance, but Alex had remained calm and attentive, observing everything. Now their confidence was beginning to waver, though they had not realized it yet. Alex followed the twins into the Grand Council chambers, a vast hall lined with crystal walls that reflected the soft golden light. Other council members were already present, their eyes curious and alert. The twins whispered to each other as they approached, speaking in rapid phrases meant to confuse and belittle. Alex listened attentively, silently repeating the words in his mind, testing the tones and patterns he had been practicing for days. As the meeting began, Lyra leaned slightly toward Leora and whispered something with a playful smirk. Leora laughed softly, clearly expecting Alex to show confusion or hesitation, but Alex remained calm, his expression neutral, his posture composed. The twins' amusement was met with his quiet attention, and for the first time they felt a flicker of doubt. They had underestimated the human completely. Council discussions proceeded with formality, but the twins' playful interruptions continued. They asked questions in their melodic language, spoke in rapid phrases, and made gestures intended to mock. Alex answered each question carefully, showing respect and curiosity but revealing no hint of his understanding. Every time the twins expected a mistake or a sign of confusion, they were met with patience and observation. Their smirks began to falter, replaced by a subtle tension they had never expected. During a break, Alex observed the twins closely. He noticed small details: the way Lyra's eyebrows arched when she found amusement in her own words, the tilt of Leora's head when she anticipated a reaction, and the way their eyes darted to each other in silent communication. Every movement was a clue, every gesture a signal. He was building a complete understanding of their habits, their personality, and their subtle signals of emotion. As the council resumed, a test of intelligence was announced. The council had prepared a series of puzzles and challenges designed to reveal insight, creativity, and knowledge of their culture. The twins looked at Alex with a mixture of amusement and expectation. They believed that their human visitor would fail or reveal ignorance under pressure. Alex approached the first challenge carefully. The puzzle involved interpreting a complex series of symbols, each representing ideas or historical events from Zithera. The twins whispered rapidly to each other, laughing softly at what they assumed would be Alex's confusion. But Alex had been observing patterns and had already familiarized himself with similar symbols during the previous days. Slowly and deliberately he decoded the symbols, placing them in the correct order. The council members murmured in surprise. Humans were not expected to comprehend such intricate details of Zitheran history or symbolism. Lyra and Leora's expressions shifted. Their amusement faltered, replaced by curiosity and a trace of tension. They whispered again, their words faster than ever, attempting to regain the upper hand. Alex listened, his mind processing the sounds, the tones, and the patterns. He was ready. Finally, the moment came. The twins spoke a rapid series of phrases in their language, aimed at confusing and mocking him. Alex had been waiting for this moment, practicing silently, preparing for the chance to reveal his understanding. He took a deep breath, let his mind settle, and then spoke. The words flowed from his mouth in perfect rhythm and tone, repeating exactly what the twins had said, but with clarity and understanding that shocked the room. "You think I do not understand your words," he said, pausing briefly. "But I have listened, observed, and learned. I know your meaning and I know your intent." A stunned silence fell over the chamber. Lyra and Leora froze, their mouths slightly open, eyes wide. The twins had never expected a human to speak their language with such accuracy, to repeat their words with understanding, and to convey comprehension and respect at the same time. The council members looked between Alex and the twins, astonishment written across every face. Lyra's voice was barely audible as she whispered, How is this possible?" Leora shook her head in disbelief. They had believed their language to be a barrier, a way to separate themselves from humans. Alex had shattered that belief in an instant. Alex continued calmly, carefully choosing his words. "I have observed your habits, your gestures, your tone, and your meaning. I respect your language, your culture, and your intelligence. But I am human, and humans learn quickly when they pay attention and listen carefully. I am here to understand, not to mock, but to communicate." The twins exchanged glances, their faces still showing surprise, but now mixed with a new emotion, respect. They realized that this human was not ordinary. He had patience, observation, and intelligence that allowed him to do what no other human had achieved on their planet. Council members began to speak, some asking questions in the twins' language, testing Alex further. He responded flawlessly, demonstrating comprehension, insight, and cultural awareness. Every correct response deepened the silence in the chamber, replacing disbelief with growing respect. The twins, who had planned to mock him, now faced the realization that their arrogance had been misplaced. Lyra spoke next, her voice steady but careful. "You understand more than we expected." Her words were measured, lacking the playful tone that had characterized her earlier speech. Leora nodded, her expression thoughtful. For the first time, they were seeing a human as an equal, as someone capable of matching their intelligence and understanding. Alex smiled faintly. "I understand your language, yes, but more importantly, I understand that every being, regardless of origin, can learn, observe, and communicate. Understanding is not limited by species. It is limited only by attention, patience, and willingness to learn." The council was silent for a moment, absorbing his words. The twins remained quiet, still processing the shock of the revelation. Alex's calm confidence, his ability to speak their language, and his respectful approach had turned the tables completely. The human they had assumed would be ignorant was now demonstrating intellect, adaptability, and understanding far beyond expectation. After a pause, Lyra spoke again, her tone softer, less mocking. "You have surprised us," Leora added. "We did not expect this of a human." "Your understanding, it is impressive." The twins' expressions had changed entirely. Where there had been arrogance and amusement, now there was acknowledgement and curiosity. They were forced to reconsider their assumptions about humans, their abilities, and their potential. Alex nodded. "Thank you. I am here to learn, to communicate, and to show that humans can respect and understand cultures beyond their own. But I am also here to remind everyone that intelligence and observation are not limited by species. Humans adapt, humans learn, humans endure. That is our strength. The council members began to murmur among themselves, some nodding, some smiling. The twins, still processing the moment, exchanged a brief glance. They had underestimated humans completely. Their mockery had been based on assumption, and that assumption had now been proven false. For the rest of the day, Alex participated in further discussions and exercises. Each time he demonstrated comprehension, insight, and adaptability. The twins watched him closely, no longer mocking but analyzing, trying to understand how he had achieved this level of understanding so quickly. They asked questions, tested him subtly, and observed his responses. Each answer, each demonstration of knowledge strengthened the respect growing in their minds. As evening approached, the twins escorted Alex back to his quarters. The city glowed softly under the setting suns, the towers reflecting colors that shifted from gold to violet. The twins walked beside him, their expressions thoughtful. The playful arrogance of the previous days was gone, replaced by curiosity, respect, and perhaps a hint of admiration. Lyra spoke softly, almost to herself. "We misjudged him." Leora nodded, her eyes following Alex's calm and steady movements. "Yes, he is not like other humans." Their words carried no mockery, no amusement, only the acknowledgement of a new reality. Alex, sensing the change, smiled faintly. The twins had finally seen the truth. Humans were not weak, ignorant, or predictable. They were adaptable, observant, and capable of intelligence that could match and sometimes exceed even the most skilled aliens. The revelation had not come from force or argument. It had come from patience, observation, and respect. That night, as Alex prepared for sleep, he reviewed the events of the day. The twins' arrogance had been dismantled, their assumptions overturned. The council had seen a human in a completely new light, one who could learn, adapt, and communicate with clarity and respect. He knew that the coming days would involve further challenges, but for now, the most important victory had been achieved. The twin sisters, the most mocking and confident of Zithera, had learned that humans were not to be underestimated. Alex closed his eyes, a sense of quiet satisfaction settling over him. Zithera was a world of intelligence, pride, and complexity. But humans— The next morning, the city of Zithera seemed different to Alex. The streets were just as alive, the towers shining brilliantly under the three suns. But something had changed in the air. Where there had once been open mockery and playful arrogance, now there was cautious curiosity. Lyra and Leora, the twin sisters who had once mocked him relentlessly, now walked beside him with expressions that were carefully measured, their eyes observing him as much as he observed them. The council had arranged a series of challenges, and the twins had insisted on Alex's participation. This time there was no laughter or teasing at the start. Instead, the twins spoke in controlled tones, testing him subtly, seeing how he would respond to their clever traps and puzzles. The first challenge was simple in appearance but complex in execution, a pattern-based puzzle that required logic, memory, and intuition. Alex studied the puzzle carefully. The shapes and symbols shifted in response to small changes in position, color, and sequence. To an alien mind, this might have been routine, but Alex approached it with human creativity. He noticed connections between the symbols that others had overlooked, patterns that revealed solutions when combined with a careful sequence of observation and action. Step by step, he solved the puzzle, and the twins watched silently, their expressions unreadable. When he completed it, Lyra's voice was quiet but sharp. "Impressive," she said, the words stripped of any mockery. Leora nodded in agreement, though her eyes reflected a spark of astonishment. They had assumed no human could solve such a challenge, but Alex had done it without hesitation. The council murmured quietly among themselves, clearly impressed by the human's abilities. The next challenge involved cultural knowledge and diplomacy. The twins presented Alex with a scenario. Two factions within Zithera were in conflict, each claiming rights to a valuable resource. Alex had to negotiate a resolution that would satisfy both sides, using careful reasoning and persuasion. The twins whispered to each other, speaking rapidly, clearly expecting Alex to fail or make a misstep. But Alex had been observing closely for days. He knew the nuances of Zitheran etiquette, the subtle ways arguments were framed, and the importance of honor and respect in their negotiations. Calmly, he addressed the problem, proposing a solution that combined fairness, practicality, and respect for both factions. He explained his reasoning clearly, using principles the council respected and language the twins had taught him through observation. The room fell silent as the factions nodded in agreement. The council members exchanged looks of approval. The twins, who had once laughed at him, now appeared cautious, their previous amusement replaced by serious attention. They whispered briefly, but this time there was no laughter, only analysis. Alex had proven not only intelligence but also understanding, strategy, and insight. The third challenge was physical in nature. It involved navigating a complex obstacle course designed to test agility, coordination, and endurance. The twins led Alex to the course, their expressions once again carefully controlled. They had assumed humans would struggle with tasks that required such precision and speed. Alex approached the challenge with focus. Humans, he knew, had adaptability that often surpassed what aliens expected. He observed the timing of moving platforms, the rhythm of shifting barriers, and the patterns of energy fields. Using careful planning, quick reflexes, and steady observation, he navigated the course successfully. Each movement was deliberate, precise, and effective. At the finish line, the twins' expressions were mixed with surprise and admiration. They had never seen a human combine observation, intuition, and adaptability in such a way. Lyra spoke first, her tone measured. "You adapt quickly, more than we expected." Leora added, "Your actions are clever, precise, and unexpected. We underestimated humans." Alex nodded respectfully. "I have learned from watching, listening, and understanding. Humans survive because we adapt, observe, and think carefully. Challenges are opportunities, not obstacles." His calm confidence and respectful tone further impressed the council and the twins alike. The final challenge was a collaborative exercise. The twins had prepared a complex project that required strategy, creativity, and cooperation. They expected to lead Alex, perhaps to guide him through subtle hints, assuming he would struggle with the intricate plan. Instead, Alex approached the challenge as an equal partner. He listened carefully to their suggestions, contributed ideas that were innovative yet practical, and suggested improvements that the twins had not considered. The twins, initially cautious, began to notice the human's unique perspective. His solutions were unexpected, blending human ingenuity with the understanding he had gained of Zithran culture. Each idea strengthened the project, impressing the council and subtly shifting the balance of influence. The twins realized that Alex was not just competent, he was extraordinary in his ability to combine observation, creativity, and strategy. By the end of the day, the project was complete. The council members examined it with careful attention, noting the clever solutions, the efficiency of the plan, and the human input that had enhanced every aspect. The twins, once proud and mocking, now regarded Alex with respect. Their earlier assumption, that humans were limited in understanding, intelligence, and adaptability, had been completely overturned. As the group left the chambers, the twins walked beside Alex, their expressions thoughtful. Lyra spoke quietly, almost to herself. "We were wrong. About him, about humans." Leora nodded, her gaze fixed on Alex. "Yes. We judged too quickly. He is capable in ways we did not anticipate." Alex smiled faintly. "Thank you. I have learned from observing, listening, and respecting your culture. Humans succeed not by underestimating others, but by learning, adapting, and finding solutions where others see only obstacles." The twins exchanged glances. They were beginning to understand something fundamental. Humans were not inferior. Their intelligence, adaptability, and persistence could match and sometimes surpass even the most advanced alien minds. For the first time, Lyra and Leora felt genuine respect for a human being, not out of obligation, but because they had seen it demonstrated clearly, with patience and skill. That evening, Alex was invited to a private dinner with the twins. The atmosphere was no longer mocking, no longer filled with sarcasm or amusement. Instead, it was calm, reflective, and curious. The twins asked questions about Earth, human culture, and his experiences, listening intently as he explained. They were no longer trying to provoke him. They were trying to understand him and perhaps even learn from him. Alex spoke with humility and clarity, answering their questions carefully. He explained the human approach to problem-solving, collaboration, and observation. He shared examples of human creativity and adaptability, illustrating how humans had survived and thrived in countless challenging situations. The twins listened, occasionally nodding, occasionally exchanging glances, clearly impressed by the depth and clarity of his explanations. By the end of the dinner, a new understanding had formed. The twins had transitioned from mockery to cautious admiration. They recognized the human's skill, intelligence, and adaptability. They had seen him succeed where others might have failed, and they could no longer assume that humans were limited or predictable. As Alex returned to his quarters, he reflected on the day. The twins had tested him in ways that had initially seemed designed to mock and intimidate, but he had turned each test into an opportunity to demonstrate human adaptability, intelligence, and creativity. Through careful observation, patience, and respect, he had transformed the perception of the most mocking and confident beings on Scifi. That night, as he reviewed his notes and prepared for the next day, Alex felt a quiet satisfaction. The twins, who had once believed themselves superior, had been forced to acknowledge the human's skill and intelligence. The council, too, had witnessed his capabilities, and the perception of humans on Scifi had shifted significantly. For Alex, the journey was far from over. Challenges would continue, tests would arise, and the twins' curiosity would only grow. But he now had their attention, their respect, and the knowledge that humans were capable of more than they had imagined. Scifi was a world of intelligence, pride, and complexity, but humans had proven, through observation, patience, and ingenuity, that they could stand as equals, and sometimes even as teachers. The following morning, Alex felt a sense of calm determination. The city of Scifi was alive with its usual brilliance, the towers glinting under the three suns, the citizens moving gracefully along floating paths and bridges. But today the atmosphere around him had shifted. Where mockery and amusement had once filled the air, there was now quiet curiosity, cautious respect, and an unspoken acknowledgement of his abilities. Lyra and Leora met him at the entrance of the council chambers. Their expressions were composed, serious, and thoughtful. The playful arrogance that had characterized their first encounters was gone. Now they walked beside him as equals, though with a careful, measured caution born from their earlier underestimation. Alex followed them into the grand chamber, aware of the significance of this moment. The council members were already present, their eyes observing him with interest. Today, a formal ceremony was to take place, one meant to honor those who had shown exceptional skill, understanding, and diplomacy in bridging cultures. Alex knew the twins had already spread the word of his abilities, and today would be the culmination of his efforts. The council began with formal words, acknowledging the challenges of interspecies communication and diplomacy. They praised efforts made to understand Scifian culture and customs, highlighting the importance of patience, observation, and respect. When the discussion turned toward Alex, all eyes focused on him. The twins standing beside him nodded subtly in acknowledgement, signaling to the council that he had earned their respect. Lyra stepped forward first, her voice calm and clear. "We have tested this human in every way we could imagine. We expected mistakes, hesitations, and misunderstandings. Instead, we found patience, intelligence, and understanding. He has demonstrated that humans, too, can learn, adapt, and respect other cultures with skill and insight." Leora added, "We misjudged him. We misjudged humans. Today, we acknowledge that assumptions about limitations can be dangerous, and that observation, careful thought, and respect can lead to extraordinary results." A ripple of approval moved through the council members. Some nodded quietly, others smiled, and a few exchanged glances of admiration. Alex remained composed, nodding politely, recognizing the acknowledgement without arrogance. He understood the weight of this moment, not just for himself, but for all humans who might visit Scifi in the future. Their perception of humans had shifted. The twins guided him to a ceremonial platform in the center of the chamber. Holographic projections displayed symbols of achievement, cultural milestones, and historical accomplishments. The council members watched intently as Alex's actions over the past days were recounted. Solving intricate puzzles, navigating complex obstacle courses, interpreting language with precision, and contributing creatively to collaborative projects. Every detail highlighted not only his skill, but the human qualities that had made it possible. observation, adaptability, patience, and determination. Lyra addressed the chamber once more. This human has shown that intelligence is not confined to one species. Adaptability is not limited by biology. Patience and understanding are universal strengths. Today, we honor his contributions and the lessons he has taught us. Leora continued. May this serve as a reminder that assumptions can limit vision, and that openness to learning can reveal abilities beyond expectation. We recognize him as a partner, a thinker, and a representative of humans worthy of respect. Alex stepped forward. His voice was calm but firm, carrying across the chamber. Thank you. I accept this acknowledgement not as an individual, but on behalf of humans everywhere. We learn, we observe, we adapt, and we respect. Respect is not earned by status, size, or technology alone. It is earned through understanding, patience, and action. I hope that through this we can build bridges between our worlds, showing that cooperation and communication can overcome misunderstanding and assumptions. The council members murmured their approval. The twins nodded subtly, their expressions reflecting a mixture of pride, curiosity, and admiration. They had watched him closely, tested him, and challenged him, and now they were witnessing the results of a human mind unshaken by mockery, guided by observation, and driven by understanding. The ceremony continued with formal recognition. Alex was presented with a medallion, a symbol of achievement and respect in Zitharan culture. The twins stood beside him, their hands lightly touching his shoulders in a gesture of acknowledgement and support. For the first time, their expressions were free of mockery, free of arrogance. They had seen a human succeed where they had expected failure, and the realization had transformed their perspective entirely. After the formalities, the twins invited Alex to explore the city with them once more. This time the walk was different. Conversations flowed naturally, questions were asked and answered with mutual respect, and the earlier tension had given way to genuine curiosity. Alex shared insights about Earth, human culture, and his experiences, and the twins listened with interest, occasionally asking thoughtful questions. Their playful mockery had been replaced by engagement and dialogue. Throughout the day, citizens of Zithara approached Alex with cautious curiosity. Some had witnessed his achievements, others had heard reports from the twins. Each interaction was met with respect, acknowledgement, and a willingness to engage. Alex responded politely, observing cultural cues and communicating with clarity and thoughtfulness. Every interaction reinforced the idea that humans were capable partners, adaptable and intelligent in ways that Zitharans had not fully anticipated. As the day turned to evening, the three suns setting and casting long, warm shadows across the city, Alex was invited to a private gathering with the twins. The ceremonial garden, filled with floating lights, gentle streams, and iridescent plants, provided the perfect setting. The twins had prepared this meeting not to mock or challenge, but to converse, share knowledge, and learn from each other. Lyra spoke first, her tone thoughtful. We underestimated humans because we relied on assumption. We judged based on expectation, not observation. You have taught us that observation, patience, and understanding reveal capabilities that assumptions cannot predict. Leora added, We have learned from you, not just your intelligence, but your approach to challenges, your calm focus, and your respect for others. You have changed our perspective and in doing so strengthened our understanding of humanity. Alex smiled faintly. Thank you. Respect is earned through action, understanding, and care, not by assumption or status. Humans learn from every experience, observe carefully, and adapt to circumstances. This is how we survive, how we grow, and how we build bridges with others. I am glad to share this understanding with you. The twins exchanged a glance, their expressions reflective. They had witnessed firsthand that humans were not weak, predictable, or limited. The mockery of the past had been replaced by respect, curiosity, and genuine acknowledgement of human strength and adaptability. They had learned that intelligence, creativity, and patience could come from any species, and that arrogance could blind even the most capable minds. As the night deepened, Alex stood quietly looking out over the city. The towers reflected the soft glow of the suns, the floating bridges and pathways filled with gentle movement. He felt a sense of satisfaction, not just for himself, but for what this achievement represented. Humans had shown that even in a world of intelligence, pride and complexity far beyond their own, they could be equals, teachers, and partners. The twins approached him, their expressions calm and reflective. Lyra spoke softly. "You have shown us what humans are capable of. Your patience, observation, and intelligence are remarkable." Leora added, "We will remember this, and we will not underestimate humans again." Their words carried sincerity, respect and acknowledgement, a stark contrast to the mockery of days past. Alex nodded. "I hope this is just the beginning. Understanding, respect, and cooperation can build bridges between worlds. If we continue to learn from each other, there is no limit to what we can achieve together." The twins smiled faintly, a gesture of acceptance, acknowledgement, and newfound respect. The bond formed through challenges, observation, and learning had transformed the relationship from mockery to partnership. For the first time, humans and Zitherans were seeing each other as equals, capable of understanding, learning, and achieving together. As Alex prepared to return to his quarters, he reflected on the journey. The mockery, the challenges, the tests, and the observations had all led to this moment. He had demonstrated human adaptability, intelligence, patience, and respect. The twins, once the most mocking and confident beings on Zithera, had been transformed by the experience. The council, citizens, and the twins themselves now recognized humans as capable, intelligent, and worthy of respect. That night, as Alex lay in his quarters, he felt a quiet satisfaction. The mission had been more than observation. It had been a demonstration of human capability, a lesson in patience, understanding, and resilience. Zithera had witnessed humans in a way that few had expected, and the perception of humanity had shifted forever. He knew the journey was not over. There would be more challenges, more opportunities, and more lessons to learn. But for now, humans had earned respect, understanding, and acknowledgement on an alien world. And Alex, through observation,